Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. It's an exciting weekend, particularly maybe in our world. Of course, today we're celebrating the 65th wedding anniversary of Deborah and Phil, which we're going to have an opportunity in a little bit, which is also part of the exciting weekend. But of course, in our sports world, right, last night was the opening ceremonies for the Olympics, and tomorrow is the Super Bowl, right? Puppy Bowl, right? Okay, sorry. So I'm normally very excited about the Super Bowl, but this past week, there's been this raging debate going on around a Super Bowl commercial. And you may have seen some of this debate happening. So Robert Kraft, who happens to be the owner of the Patriots and a very wealthy Jewish philanthropist, started this movement a few years back called, Stand Up to Hate, the blue, squares to stand up against anti-Semitism. And he started the last couple of years running these ads in the Super Bowl that were supposed to tell people to stop being anti-Semitic. Right? And a lot of this happens a lot of times. Some of the ads get previewed before you actually see them during the Super Bowl. And the ad that Robert Kraft spent $15 million on to air on the Super Bowl tomorrow night, it aired. And it showed this Jewish student in a high school that seemed a little meager in stature, getting bullied, right? Someone stuck a sticker on his backpack that said "Dirty Jew" on it, and then you get this black student who actually comes to his aid and says, basically, we're here to stand with you. Don't let them bother. Don't let the haters bother you. And that's the commercial in a quick nutshell. You can go watch it after Shabbat. And at first I thought, this is great, right? Like this is going to air with hundreds of millions of people watching this particular ad. It uses the statistic that 2 in 3 teenagers in America this past year have faced anti-Semitic incidents. Right? It's a staggering statistic. And it gets you to think about it. And then I started reading all of the comments online of all these people who are completely against the ad. And they were against the ad for a couple of different reasons. One of the reasons is that it makes it appear as though we as a Jewish people can't stand up for ourselves, right? You need the black student to help the Jewish student in order to stand up against the hatred in these high schools, right? That was issue number one. Issue number two was that people can't believe that someone is spending $15 million, right, on this ad, and when instead that $15 million could be spent on Jewish education, Jewish summer camps, right, so on and so forth. So I'm going to quickly debunk the first one, which is Robert Kraft is worth multi-billions. He spends a lot of money on Jewish philanthropy. He single-handedly pays for the Hillel at Columbia University, in addition to many other things in the Boston, New England area, where, again, he owns the Patriots. So if he wants to spend $15 million on a Super Bowl ad, that'd be like me spending $5 at Schnucks later on, right? So I'm not quite sure. I understand the pushback, but I think he's still spending other money to help other Jewish causes. So I understand the pushback, but I'm not going to go there. The other part, which I think was a fascinating debate, was what does it mean, right, in this particular ad that someone else has to be there to help us, that we can't do it alone? And it really got me thinking about this morning's Torah portion. This morning's Torah portion is Parashat Yitro, right? It's most famous, of course, for what we're going to hear in a little bit, which is the Aseret HaDibrot, the 10 Commandments, this moment where we get our big commandments on Mount Sinai. But the chapter I love the most in this parsha is chapter 18, the first chapter we read, which is all about Yitro. It's why the parsha is called Yitro. Yitro is Moses' father-in-law. It is very clear. They say he is a Midianite priest, and he is coming to greet Moses and the Israelite people after we finally have escaped Pharaoh and been able to leave Egypt. He meets us at Mount Sinai, and he talks to Moses, and he helps Moses out, right? He sees that Moses is overwhelmed, and he says, Moses, you can't be the judge and jury for every single thing that the 600-something thousand Israelites are dealing with. You need to create a judicial system, right? And thanks to Yitro, we have higher courts, middle-level courts, and lower-level courts. And at no point in the Torah does it say, I can't believe that a Midianite priest came and helped our people, right? It doesn't say that. It thanks Yitro, right? They actually roll out the red carpet and say, thank you, Yitro, for helping us out. And Moses is very grateful for Yitro helping us out. And I think it's intentionally at this moment in the Torah that we have a non-Jewish person, right, a Midianite priest, helping our people, because what just happened in Egypt? For 400 years, no one came to help us, right? It takes an extraordinary act from God via Moses, right, to get bring in the 10 plagues, and we cross the sea, right? I don't have to review the whole Exodus story again. And now, right, when we need help again, right, we get a little help from others in our community. And one of the important messages I actually think of this particular Super Bowl ad, right, and one of the important messages from our Torah is that, of course, we have to stand up for our people, right? We have to stand up for ourselves, right? And we have to come together as a Jewish community, but we're nothing without non-Jewish friends standing by our side as well. And I actually think the Super Bowl ad is a very important message, right? That we all have to stand up together. And that if we don't stand up together against the hatred we see around us, right, then it's all going to collapse, right? There's the famous line that it might start with the Jews, but it doesn't end with the Jews. That's what it feels in this moment. So the anti-Semitism is on this incredible rise, but we need allies. We can't do this alone. We only make up 2% of the American population. We make up 0.2% of the world population, right? We can stand up and scream real loudly, but if we don't find those allies in our larger community, right, it's going to be very challenging. So my hope and prayer for us this morning, as we read Parashat Yitro, and we hear Yitro's advice to Moses, and then we're able to get these 10 commandments that we're going to hear together, my hope and prayer for us is that together we can find those allies, stand up together as a Jewish community, but also as a larger community as well. Shabbat Shalom.